Inwardly, everything should be different, but our outward face should conform with the crowd. Anyone who can make you angry becomes your master. The first rule is to keep an untroubled spirit. The second is to look things in the face and know them for what they are. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary. Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it. Nature hath given men one tongue but two ears, that we may hear from others twice as much as we speak. People are frugal in guarding their personal property, but as soon as it comes to squandering time, they are most wasteful of one thing in which it is right to be stingy. Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. Until we have begun to go without them, we fail to realize how unnecessary many things are. We've been using them not because we needed them, but because we had them. If a man knows not which port he sails, no wind is favorable. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. Here is a rule to remember in the future. When anything tempts you to feel bitter, think, not this is misfortune, but to bear this worthily is good fortune. Man conquers the world by conquering himself. Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one. The things you think about determine the quality of your mind. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. It is not the man who is too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Difficulty shows what men are. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. Death smiles at us all. All we can do is smile back. The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Nothing endures but change. A person's worth is measured by the worth of what he values. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. No man was ever wise by chance. He who is brave is free. Your sense of injury, and the injury itself, disappears. The willing are led by fate. The reluctant are dragged. What we do now echoes in eternity. While we wait for life, life passes. The one who puts the finishing touches on their life each day is never short of time. It's time you realize that you have something in you more powerful and miraculous than the things that affect you and make you dance like a puppet. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. Be silent for the most part, or if you speak, say only what is necessary in a few words. All cruelty springs from weakness. It is a rough road that leads to the heights of greatness. Do every act of your life as though it were the very last act of your life. Whatever can happen at any time can happen today. Don't explain your philosophy, embody it. Because a thing seems difficult for you, do not think it impossible for anyone to accomplish. Freedom is secured not by the fulfilling of men's desires, but by the removal of desire. Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. The key is to keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Humans have come into being for the sake of each other, so either teach them or learn to bear them. It can ruin your life only if it ruins your character. Otherwise, it cannot harm you, inside or out. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Mastery of reading and writing requires a master, still more so life. Life is very short and anxious for those who forget the past, neglect the present, and fear the future. Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself. Your days are numbered. Use them to throw open the windows of your soul to the sun. If you do not, the sun will soon set and you with it. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Sometimes, even to live is an act of courage. It's not that we have little time, but more that we waste a good deal of it. Whatever happens, that all happens as it should. What if I told you that within the first few seconds of meeting someone, they have already decided whether to respect you or not? Have you ever walked into a room and felt invisible, while others instantly commanded attention? Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone disregards your presence, interrupts you, or makes a joke at your expense? Many people believe that respect is something you must demand, but the truth is that respect is earned through how you carry yourself and respond to challenges. If you do not establish your presence, others will decide how they treat you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Respect is not about controlling others. It is about controlling yourself in a way that makes others recognize your value. In this video, we will explore practical strategies to ensure that people respect you immediately. These are not theoretical concepts, but tested techniques based on human psychology. You will learn how to respond when someone interrupts you, how to handle public humiliation, and how to turn disrespect into an opportunity to establish authority. Most importantly, you will discover the power of walking away when respect is not given. This is not a sign of weakness, but a declaration of self-worth. Stay with us until the end, because the last tip is the most powerful strategy you can use when dealing with those who refuse to respect you. If you want to live with confidence, dignity, and authority, this video is for you. By the time you finish watching, you'll have the tools to command respect in any situation. Now, let us begin by understanding why people sometimes fail to respect you in the first place. The hidden reason people disrespect you. Many people assume that when someone disrespects them, it is because of personal hatred or dislike. However, this is often not the case. Most of the time, a lack of respect comes from something much simpler. It happens because people believe they can get away with it. Seneca once said, "Treat a man as he is, and he will remain as he is. Treat a man as he could be, and he will become what he should be." This means that people will treat you based on how they perceive you. If you allow them to treat you with disrespect, they will continue to do so. If you establish strong boundaries, they will see you as someone who commands respect. There are three main reasons why people may fail to respect you. 1. Opportunism. Some individuals try to elevate themselves by diminishing others. This happens in workplaces, social groups, and even among friends. They believe that making others look weak makes them appear strong. When they notice that someone does not resist or challenge their behavior, they continue doing it. They may not even see it as an act of intentional disrespect. Instead, they see it as a way to position themselves above others. 2. Habit. Some people have developed a pattern of disregarding others. They do not necessarily mean to be disrespectful, but they have become accustomed to treating people as if they do not matter. If no one challenges this behavior, they will continue doing it. Over time, this behavior spreads, and others around them may start to follow the same pattern. What begins as an individual habit can turn into a group dynamic where certain people are routinely ignored or belittled. 3. Social cues. People often determine how to treat others based on unspoken signals. If you present yourself as someone who does not require respect, others will take that as permission to overlook your presence. This is why confidence, body language, and the way you carry yourself are so important. People make quick judgments based on subtle details, and if you do not establish yourself as someone worthy of attention and respect, you may find that others fail to acknowledge you properly. The most important thing to understand is that people treat you based on what you allow. If you do not set clear expectations for how you want to be treated, others will decide for you. This does not mean you need to be aggressive or confrontational. It simply means that you must communicate, through your actions and presence, that you are not someone to be disregarded. Understanding this is the first step to changing how others perceive you. Next, we will discuss how to make a strong first impression and ensure that people respect you from the very beginning. The power of first impressions. First impressions matter more than most people realize. Within seconds of meeting you, others form opinions about your confidence, authority, and social value. These initial judgments are difficult to change, which is why it is critical to present yourself in a way that commands respect from the beginning. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon and found that people rely on quick visual and behavioral cues to determine how they should treat someone. Your posture, eye contact, tone of voice, and overall presence send unspoken messages about whether you are someone to be taken seriously. The first mistake many people make is appearing hesitant or unsure of themselves when meeting others. If you seem uncomfortable or overly eager to please, people subconsciously register you as someone without authority. This does not mean you should act superior or arrogant, but it does mean you should present yourself with calm self-assurance. There are 3 key elements to making a strong first impression. 1. Posture. When you walk into a room, stand up straight, move with purpose, and take your time. People who rush or appear hesitant give the impression that they lack confidence. Your movements should be steady and deliberate, signaling that you are in control of yourself and your environment. 2. Eye contact. When greeting someone, look directly into their eyes as you shake hands. Do not glance away or down at their hand. Many people make the mistake of watching the handshake rather than maintaining eye contact. This small movement may seem insignificant, but it signals submission rather than confidence. 3. Voice control. When speaking, use a steady and controlled tone. Avoid speaking too quickly or too softly, as both can make you seem uncertain. A slow, clear voice indicates confidence. People instinctively listen to and respect those who speak in a measured, deliberate manner. A common mistake is trying too hard to make others like you. Smiling excessively or nodding too much can make you seem overly eager for approval. Instead, maintain a calm, composed demeanor. You do not need to win people over immediately. Simply present yourself as someone who is comfortable in their own skin and does not need to seek validation. In professional settings, these principles are even more critical. If you are sitting when someone enters the room, stand up before shaking their hand. Remaining seated while greeting someone puts you at a disadvantage because it forces the other person to look down at you. Standing before greeting someone establishes equality and shows that you take the interaction seriously. Respect begins with how you carry yourself. Before you ever say a word, people have already made assumptions about your confidence and self-worth. If you want to be treated with respect, you must first present yourself as someone who respects themselves. Making a strong first impression is just the beginning. But what happens when someone disregards you entirely, cutting you off mid-sentence? Let us explore how to handle interruptions with confidence. What to do when someone interrupts you. Being interrupted in a conversation is a clear sign that someone does not respect your voice. It can happen in both personal and professional settings, and how you handle it will determine how others perceive you. If you allow interruptions to continue without addressing them, people will subconsciously see you as someone whose words do not carry weight. Many people make the mistake of reacting emotionally when they are interrupted. They either stop speaking entirely, showing submission, or they try to talk over the interrupter, which can come across as desperate. Neither response is effective in commanding respect. The best way to handle interruptions is to pause, maintain eye contact, and establish control of the situation. Pause immediately. Stop talking as soon as the interruption occurs. Do not try to compete for attention. Instead, remain silent and look directly at the person who interrupted you. This creates a natural pause that forces the other person to acknowledge what they have done. Maintain firm but calm eye contact. Do not look away or appear flustered. A composed and steady gaze signals that you are fully aware of what just happened and that you are not willing to be dismissed. Reclaim the conversation. Use a simple, direct statement like, "Excuse me, I was not finished. I would like to finish my point." These phrases are polite but assertive, making it clear that you will not allow yourself to be ignored. In group settings, this approach is especially effective. When others see that you handle interruptions with quiet confidence, they will instinctively start giving you more respect. Most people do not want to be seen as disrespectful, so when you make them aware of their behavior, they are likely to adjust. However, there are situations where you may choose to let an interruption slide, such as when your boss or a senior authority figure interrupts you. In such cases, instead of confronting them directly, wait for a natural pause and then continue speaking in a calm and composed manner. This allows you to assert yourself without creating unnecessary conflict. On the other hand, If a person repeatedly interrupts you, it may be necessary to address the pattern more firmly. If they do it again, you can say, "I noticed you have interrupted me a few times. I would appreciate the chance to finish what I was saying." This approach forces them to recognize their behavior without making the conversation hostile. Every time someone interrupts you and you let it slide, you teach them that your words do not matter. But what if, instead of just interrupting you, they decide to turn you into the joke of the conversation? How to handle public insults or jokes at your expense. At some point, you will find yourself in a situation where someone tries to embarrass you with a joke in front of others. Whether it happens in a social gathering, at work, or even among friends, how you respond will determine whether people see you as someone who commands respect or someone who can be easily undermined. Many people react in one of two ways. They laugh along, even if they feel uncomfortable. They become defensive and try to fight back. Neither of these responses works in your favor. Laughing along signals that you accept being the target, while getting defensive makes you seem emotionally reactive, which only encourages further teasing. Instead, the most effective way to handle a joke at your expense is to stay calm and put the other person in an uncomfortable position without directly confronting them. Act as if you did not hear or understand the joke. Look directly at the person and say, "I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you repeat it?" This forces them to say the joke again, which immediately reduces its impact. Remain completely neutral in your reaction. Instead of laughing or showing any emotional response, simply look at the person for a few seconds and then move on to another topic. This creates an uncomfortable silence that makes them feel the weight of their own words. Ask them to explain the joke. Say, "I don't get it. Can you explain why that's funny?" This works especially well in professional settings because it shifts the discomfort onto the person who made the joke. The key to all these strategies is to remain composed. The moment you show emotional distress, you give power to the other person. By responding with quiet confidence, you take away their ability to control the situation. If the person continues to make jokes at your expense, you may choose to address it more directly. In a calm tone, say, "You seem to enjoy making jokes about me. Is there a reason for that?" This puts them in a position where they have to either justify their behavior or stop altogether. The ultimate power move, walking away. There comes a point when the best response to disrespect is no response at all. When someone repeatedly disrespects you, refuses to acknowledge your value, or continues to undermine you despite your composed and confident responses, the most powerful action you can take is to walk away. Walking away is not an act of weakness. It is a declaration that you will not remain in an environment where you are not respected. The strongest people do not beg for respect or engage in endless battles to prove their worth. Instead, they remove themselves from situations where their presence is not valued. When should you walk away? When someone continues to test your boundaries. If you have made it clear that certain behavior is unacceptable and they persist, they are showing that they have no intention of respecting you. When someone thrives on provoking others. Some people gain satisfaction from making others angry or uncomfortable. Engaging with them only gives them more power. When a situation does not serve you. If you are in an environment where your contributions are ignored, your presence is undervalued, or you are constantly struggling for recognition, it may be time to leave. Staying in a place where you are not respected only drains your energy and diminishes your self-worth. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." If someone continues to disrespect you, trying to argue or fight for their respect only pulls you down to their level. Instead of engaging, choose to remove yourself from their presence. Final words. Your presence commands respect. Respect is not something you demand. It is something you embody. People decide how to treat you based on the signals you give them. If you present yourself with confidence, establish clear boundaries, and refuse to tolerate disrespect, you will naturally command respect. Marcus Aurelius once said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." You cannot control how others behave, but you can control how you respond. When you remain calm in the face of disrespect, set firm boundaries, and carry yourself with dignity, you become someone that others look up to. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to assert your respect? How did you handle it? Share your experiences in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like and subscribe to Stoic Story for more insights on living with confidence and strength. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.